Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Guys, I'm Rukafitron, and today I'm going to present to you about warships. But first of all, I want to introduce myself a little bit more detail, and it is. My name is Rukafitron. I'm 14 years old, and you can see my email right here. And I'm third grade junior high school in IDM boarding school, and my hobbies is reading. And I'm I'm third children, and I have two sisters. One is 16 years old, and the other is 21. And yeah, we live in one house, of course, and a lot of things happened. And we also have a cat and a rabbit. The cat named Willie, but he's having a treatment right now because he's sick. And the other one is Casper. He's new, only for about a week or two, and to be honest, he's really cute, and he's a newborn. So there are a lot of things that kids do, and Casper did it. So yeah, without any detailed information further, let's get started. Now, first of all, what is the warship? Now, warship is a ship that is used especially for battle. So they're mounted with guns, cannons, and a lot of things that also have. They also have protection against enemy firepowers like explosive HE shells or high explosive shells with armor. And these ships are manufactured by every government, and it is crucial to maintaining the balance in the oceans. Like, so to for example, if there's a naval warfare, they're going to use these ships to assault them or to defend their homeland. And warship came in all kinds of types, and I'm going to tell you about the first one, and that is aircraft carriers. And to be honest, aircraft carriers are my main focuses. Are my main focus because aircraft carriers are a game changer in World War II, and they rebuilt their ships to become an aircraft carrier, and it's quite, how to say, they're desperate to craft aircraft carriers because aircraft carriers are very, very strong, and they're also capable of providing a very powerful combat support from the air with their aircraft. And of course, this will create a huge chaos during battle. And since aircrafts are fast and they also move really, really fast, and they also have missiles that could destroy warships easily, makes them one of the most formidable opponents in naval warfare. And right, so this is USS Enterprise, and USS Enterprise is the most legendary ships for me, at least in World War II. Because why? This ship survives 20 battle and get 20 Medal of Honor, 20 to 25 Medal of Honor, and it's a lot because a lot of ships that came into war and didn't come back after. So either they sunk or they're heavily damaged and cannot be towed into the base and destroyed. And this Enterprise has a nickname that is called the Great Ghost. Why it's called the Great Ghost? Because the Japanese troops always attacked Enterprise, and when they thought she sank, they left, USS Enterprise came in the next battle. So the Japanese called this Enterprise with the nickname of the Great Ghost. And to be honest, it's a very cool nickname even for a ship. So it's kind of, we want to appreciate the ship more. And then there's USS Essex. Now, USS Essex is aircraft carrier, of course, and it's next gen after USS Enterprise. And USS Essex is how to say very admired. They admired his enterprise, and they want to build USS Essex as to be as close as USS Enterprise as ever, so as they could. And well, the results are not even close to USS Enterprise because USS Essex is kind of a bit late of constructing during World War II, and so she didn't experience a lot of battle, and therefore she didn't get a lot of Medal of Honor. And that is not the result we're hoping for. And you might be wondering why I keep saying these ships with the call she. You want to know? So sailors, they follow the god of ocean or something like that, and it's a woman, and God ensures safety to those who sail to the sea. And of course, when war, there's a chance that your ship might sink and you might die, so it's not entirely true, but yeah, it's good to know. And okay, so the next part is battleships. Now, battleships are also one of the most important things in the early times of World War II. Why? Because they're huge. That's first. First off, they're huge. Second is they have a crazy amount of firepower in just one ship. And third is they very destructive. And this is why battleships is very, very strong in the early times of World War II. And they can destroy ships that is smaller than them in only a single shot. They could, but if they hit the right spot. So if they didn't hit the right spot, it probably took about 3 or 4 hits until they got sunk immediately, because they received holes in their armor, and making them get the water flow in, they got sunk. That's how you sunk a ship. Now, this is KMS Bismarck. The most feared battleship in World War II is KMS Bismarck. Why? Because it has an insane firepower over other battleships, and it scared the hell out of everyone in World War II. Because KMS Bismarck able to sink battle cruiser HMS Hood in only one shot of its main gun, and its main battery, and sank HMS Hood immediately. And HMS Hood is a battle cruiser, which means that it's only slightly smaller and slightly faster than battleships. But a lot of scientists, researchers, on how Bismarck could take down Hood in only one shot from its main battery. And there's a lot of rumors about these things, and some say the shell, that is the first shell they shot from KMS Bismarck's main battery, got lucky and hit the ammunition storage room and causes a huge explosion that made HMS Hood sunk. This is the first theory. And the other said it's because hood was battle damaged and not fully operational, and it got hit the right spot and took down hood, which is actually the same theory, but only a bit different methods. And also KMS Bismarck, this after this operation, uh, they undergo an operation that is called, I forgot what his name. I'm sorry. Okay, uh, with KMS Prince Eugene, a heavy cruiser, and uh, if not mistaken, I'm just trying to remember it now. Raidenberg or something like that. The operation is called, and its mission is to close the to destroy the merchant ships, I guess, and they didn't go out very well, and the plan didn't go out very well, and uh, after they meet up with HMS Hood and sunk HMS Hood, uh, all the British naval forces hunt down Bismarck, and really every single fleet they have hunts down this particular ship, and it's a bit of, you know, too much, because there's only one ship, and to revenge one ship, all the British uh, sent out all of their fleet to take down this ship. And if you say this probably too hard, or whatever it is, it's actually not true. Because why? Because HMS Hood is the pride ship of the British naval forces, and so what happened? So do you like, if your favorite thing got destroyed and you would just leave it behind like that? No, unfortunately. So they would hunt down Bismarck and eventually sank him due to heavy damage. And Cameron Prince Eugene also got destroyed. Yeah, on operation, and the operation totally fails. But Eugene got destroyed far later after Bismarck. Now moving on to USS North Carolina. Now I don't really hear USS North Carolina's name during World War II, but it's a battleship. I will include it anyway. So USS North Carolina is the lead ship of the North Carolina class, with her sister ship USS Washington, and it's one of the high-tech battleships in World War II, and it's also constructed a bit late, and therefore they didn't participate in a lot of battles, and that's why I didn't hear their name a lot. And even I searched it in Wikipedia that it doesn't as long as KMS Bismarck. Therefore, I didn't get to study USS North Carolina's story or journey that long. Then there is heavy cruisers. Now, this is Prince Eugene. Now, Prince Eugene is a German ship like Bismarck, and with the call of KMS, which is Kriegsmarine, and Krieg in German means war, so probably the call for warship. And this Prince Eugene is a fearsome heavy cruiser, which is a warship in World War II. She assists KMS Bismarck on taking down Hood, but it's only to distract Hood so that Bismarck can take clear shot against Hood and sank it in one shot. And the operation Raidenberg, after Bismarck was heavily damaged, Bismarck fled, and it says, and she ordered that Eugene to go split up so that Eugene won't get sunk down, at least immediately, by British forces. So she split up. Uh, Eugene served a few more years after Bismarck sank, and she also eventually got sank after a failed operation. So actually, Bismarck's sacrifice doesn't mean at all because she died eventually, but sacrifice is a sacrifice. And then there's USS Baltimore, which is there's a lot of ships that I click here are very late to build, and therefore they are late to participate in fights and battles, and therefore they didn't have a lot of stories about how they fight or when did they fight. So probably this is only used for as backup ships if other ships got destroyed. Right, so moving on, this is destroyers. Yeah, destroyers, there is a KMS Z-23 or Kriegsmarine Z-23 and IJ Yukikaze. Now, Kriegsmarine Z-23 is a German destroyer that I didn't hear a lot, but still, history, so I'm going to talk about it. And so, this ship, KMS Z-23, is actually a fearsome destroyer because she got strong torpedoes, strong guns, and she's outclassed nearly every single destroyer in World War II, and she's very strong. And I didn't really hear a lot of the stories, but still, it's a powerful ship. Alright, let me handle this real quick. Okay, now this is IGN Yukikaze. IGN Yukikaze is a very legendary ship amongst Japanese Navy. And why? Because she's strong, first, and she's fast, second, and third is she's a legend. And why I say that because she she never got sank because, and it's called the lucky ship because she got really very heavily damaged, and she didn't even, how to say, flinch or give up to keep running. And this is the reason why I didn't make it still alive, because she's a lucky ship. Why is it called that? Like I said, she's near death or near sunk, and but she didn't, and she got repaired, rebuilt, and survives. And to be honest, that is it's a rare thing it's able to do in World War II, because there's not a lot of ships like this. Alright, so we're going to talk about things a little right back. I'm going to try to return back the slides here into aircraft carriers again. Now, I already told a bit of a story about each ship, and now I'm going to tell you about the history of this aircraft carrier. Since this is only a specified ships, now this is the full story of aircraft carriers. Now, first thing is that aircraft carriers first built at 1800s, where the ship's deck and hull is still wood, so it's not strong enough to carry metal airplanes, and if they are invented back then, which is not happening because airplanes created a bit further after the pilot era. And first is a balloon as a recon or as a watchtowers. So they send it air balloon up, and it stays there stationary, and it is used to recon the seas on any enemy enemy warships. And aircraft carriers are not that strong back then because they heavily rely on their air balloons, and air balloons, as you know, they're slow. They're really slow, and their balloons are big. And if the balloons get hit just by a single bullet from a pistol or a rifle, that means you're going down because the balloon's air will only contain in one place. Therefore, it's not going to lift you up again, or it's going to bring you down because the air, there's a hole in it, it just go right here and it won't lift up. So the air balloons can be easily destroyed in war if that happens. So they enhance this, and after metal and steel are very common, they started to build better ships with better designs, and also, well, this is the outcome. Wasn't their ship, and this is the outcome. Like I said, in 1800s, its aircraft carriers are very weak, and didn't even really care about in war because they didn't play that much big in war. And after steel and metal became more common, they eventually created aircraft carriers, and they use aircraft carriers on basically on every single op. And they even try to disassemble a ship and rebuild it to become an aircraft carrier. And this proves that aircraft carriers is the future. So, because no one will use aircraft, no one will desperate to create aircraft carriers if they're not strong. So, what is the point on focusing on something in war that doesn't even help a bit? Now, why did they focus this? Because they're strong, and they're strong means they'll get more attention. Get more attention means that we get all the good stuff. And this ship right here is the best ship amongst other aircraft carriers that I know, because she got 20 Medal of Honor, and that is a huge thing. And that is the past. Now I'm going to talk about present. Now, aircraft carriers are created, like I said, from 1800s, and right now it got enhanced further, and they created insanely high technological aircraft carriers that uses nuclear reactors. And the US Enterprise, this whole number CV6. The whole number with CV8 or 9 or 7, I forgot, they uses a thermonuclear reactor as their fuel. So, as long as it just keep running, it will still sail no matter how far, as long as the thermonuclear reactor is still running. So, it's this aircraft proves that they have a lot of potential, and more potential means more attention. That's it. And right, so moving on to battleships. Now, battleships are taken from 1800s pirate ship that uses very strong cannons to destroy their opponents, and they upgraded this after, like I said, metal and steel more common, and it means more resources. That means more ships, and that means more firepower. And the result is this menacing beast that destroys a ship that is only 5% smaller than her in one shot. Alright, so in the 1800s, is there are no ships with metal except for the cannon and for and for the decoration. And since they're still using wood as their uh, primary resource because it's not because steel and metal are rare, and they didn't know how to process it uh, efficiently and with speed. So they uh, didn't create these awesome ships in the 1800s. And after steel and metal became more common, I keep saying that, is that they humans became more creative, and therefore they created battleships. Now, battleships in the early World War II is very strong. They're feared, and they also very strong, like I said earlier. And but they have each not everything is perfect, so they have a downside. Uh, Downside is that due to its heavy and bulky design, they became really slow, and therefore they're only good for long range battles. And since their guns are loaded very long and their uh, ammo is heavy, so it takes a long time to engage in combat. Therefore, they are usually used as uh, long range is as snipers. And why I call snipers? Because their main gun have a ridiculous range of up to 15 kilometers, and that's long. That's very long, 15 kilometers, and it's not even full uh, the full trajectory of their shot. So they could even travel to 20 or 25 kilometers, and their shells are slow, but they hit hard. So that's why they use as snipers, and because first off, their shells are accurate, and the second is that they could travel of a very long range, and third, they have firepower enough to destroy one ship in one shot. So uh, they keep building battleships because they're strong, but of course, this is going to make an imbalance if there's a lot of troops in the back but not in the front. So there are no ships to guard the battleships because battleships are slow, therefore, they need distraction to aim at the enemy efficiently. And that's why they didn't get engaged in close range fights because their weapon is strong and slow to reload. So it's like basically, yeah, sniper. Then there's a heavy cruiser. Now, heavy cruiser is the most balanced ship out of each ship of any ships on warships. Heavy cruisers they have balanced speed first. Second, they have full preparation of armor, gear, and a lot of things. And third is that they have a serious firepower. Because heavy cruiser armor is nearly as strong as battle cruisers, and their firepower is only at the half of the battle cruiser, and it's not huge, so it's not that strong, but just a ship that is balanced and perfect for everything. For long range fights, they have decent main batteries that could travel up to 12 to 15 kilometers, and it also packs punch. Sorry. So, alright. Oh yeah. It also packs a punch, and therefore it's best to destroy them in close range fights as immediately as possible because the armor will provide a tough protection and it will make you a hard time to destroy. And even battleships having quite a difficulty to bring them down in one hit at least. And then there's destroyers. Now, destroyers are small, but they pack a way greater punch than heavy cruisers. They're small, they have light armor, and they're very, very fast. They can travel up to 60 knots, well, destroyers these days, and they also, like I said, very fast, and it's very hard to target for battleships because they're small and they're also very fast, therefore making them nearly impossible to destroy from a long range because they're very fast and their torpedoes hits really hard. Now, their torpedoes are the strongest types of the strongest tool to destroy a ship in one single shot. As long as you take an accurate aim and destroy right. And these torpedoes, they use this turbine in the back. That means they're not as their velocity is not as fast as a gun. Therefore, they're very slow. So it takes a skilled commander to shoot a torpedo out of a destroyer from a long range. And since torpedo also have a limited range, so we also have a lot of troubles. And there's a lot of since histories are one of my favorite thing to do, or to at least to study them, to read them. I like historical games such as these, which is real 16 warfare games that is nearly look like a simulation to real life combat of a ship. So these are called World of Warships, and World of Warships is one of the best naval warfare games in the world. And to be honest, it's from 2016 and still alive from now, and still alive till now because of how amazing the game is. And the game also have a lot of ships from the history, and they are historically accurate. Design, the ships, and their abilities, they are all historically accurate. So they have a lot of similarities to real life battleships. Now, this is IJN Yamato, the indestructible battleship of Japan, and it's a very strong ship. And in World of Warships, once if you encounter this IJN Yamato, and then you're screwed. There's no way to defeat her other than strong. If you're skilled, you can defeat Yamato, which is not gonna happen in the history because Yamato is indestructible, literally, and therefore it's a legend ship, one of the legendary ships from Japan in World War II because how resilient it is and just how many hits that it could take, and it never goes down. No matter how many shots they land on AJ and Yamato, she still keep going. And if you watch YouTube, you're gonna see this World of Warships or World of Tanks ads a lot. Because why? Because it's just how great the game is. I don't play World of War Tanks though, but I play World of Warships, and to me, it's a very interesting game, and you should try it if you want to experience some of the difficulty of in the history back then. We didn't have that much technology on your side, so this can provide a lot of difficulties, and uh, if you're not really trained, if you wanted to be a commander of a ship, or just want to be an operator of the ship, and you could just play this game and say you like it. This could probably motivate you or brought you out of your dreams, because not every game is made for everyone. So, and this game, it's not about the ships; it's about your skills. So it's not pay to win like other games such as uh, Unreal Future Fight or other things like Call of Duty, Warzone, and it's the best because uh, you get XP based on your performance. So if you destroy a lot of ships, you deal a lot damage. You do a lot of damage to ships, and you incapacitate them. You burn their ships. You assist your teammates by destroying the ships. They're targeting your ally, provides you more XP. And though if you have a lot of XP, you on a certain ship, you will unlock the ship unlock tree, which is it will provide your ship that with gears that need to equip to enhance that, such as new armor, new gun, a new targeting system. And the game, like I said, it's not pay to win, so you don't have to buy ships to just be the best. All you have to do is skill. Uh, because I've seen it in a lot of my battles that a lot of people using only a tier 2 ship against a tier 3, and uh, they're good. And the tier 2 ships beat the tier 3 because they're skilled with that. So this game, everything is uh, depend on your skill. So there's also a mode called versus AI, which is this is good to practice uh, your aim and the reaction or response, and to how you will drive, how you will sail the ship, just entirely on you. And you also have hundreds of ship options. There are USS Phoenix, and there are Yamato. There are, of course, there's Yamato, it's included in the game, of course, and there's also Bismarck, Ichijin, Atago, everything that you want the ship is right here. But there are some ships that didn't really accurate to the history, but they're still really fun to play, and they still have a lot of fans. And uh, those ships, those games are uh, Zulain, Abyss Horizon. There are also ships that, as an animation or anime from Japan, is called Zulain and Kantai Collection, or Kanko for short, and uh, it's basically tells the story of reincarnated ships. So the ships that took a form of a human. So, and since they are everything called she, so they incarnate as the form of a female, of course, because they call she. It would be terrifying if it's called a she, but turns out they incarnated into a man, and that is scary. that is my rabbit Casper. He's eating something he's probably shouldn't, and I don't know what to do with him right now. So, and my screen laptop start to sleep again. All right, so and Contact Collection has a browser game that I didn't know was until it did. So I do some research on this thing and I didn't find it anywhere. And there's also Zoolaine is one of the downrated anime for reincarnation because it's inspired for a game. What do you expect? And the story ain't not the same as the game, so they didn't like it. They didn't enjoy it because the story of the anime isn't accurate as the game. So they hate it basically, and only got 3 out of 5 rating, which means only 6 stars. But my Cancer Collection has a lot of fans, and they also started earlier than Zero Lane, and uh, they also have a lot of episodes, and Azul can only stand for one season, and they couldn't even do it right. So I hope if they want to make things better, just make the story accurate and uh, shine, make the favorite character, make each player favorite character shines, like Mary Jane Atago or HMS Belfast, or Belfast included in the anime, but didn't take up a very important role, so they didn't. So it's not just wow enough to make me want a second season. Ah, that's my rabbit, Casper. Sorry about that. Uh, like I said, I have one of my pets. My pet cat really is in the veterinarian, and he's hopefully he's come back soon because I want to see how he's doing after he got treated. What do I want to tell again? Wait. Back from here, there's also. What are you doing? Ah! Why can't I catch you? It's Margaret again. She wanted to eat my. How say? I don't know. Wanted my Gordon. I don't know what he wanted to eat. Just wandering around house. And oh yeah. Right, enough games. So back to talk about histories. Now, warship in the past, 1800s, aren't as popular as warships in 1900s, and uh, to be honest, I didn't really interested in 1800 ships, but uh, if the ships in 1800 already had the design like this, for example, I will really appreciate it, and I will really learn from it. But I can't really appreciate things that are already done. So yeah. Uh, Now, 1800 ships uses cannons. There are no main batteries. There are no torpedoes. Just cannons. And the cannons, like you see uh, on pirate movies like Pirates of the Caribbean and it just uses uh, cannons. Cannons, okay? Cannons, not guns. It operates differently, and Cannons only have limited range, and it shoots a ball, and not an explosive bullet. And yes, and it shoots explosive bullets. That means you can't destroy an island, and you cannot raid. Uh, can't raid. How to say uh, a camp with a cannon and hope that it will kill a lot of people in one shot. No, you won't, because you only shoot a ball of heavy metal, and it that when shoot it won't explode. Only damages your ship. It's not explode. And alright, so I still have around 14 minutes to done this, and since I joke a lot around, I joke a lot back then about games, and I'm going to get serious right here. Okay, so like I said, it's not explode uh, when you shoot a cannonball through a cannon. It doesn't explode because it's not an explosive projectile, and since they only use the gunpowder to launch the cannonballs, and it don't explode. They're only used to launch, and there's also things that make that is could improve better at 1800s perhaps. An idea of if they can build a ship with a metal. Just I really gonna. It's just I really wanted. What will they look like of the first metal ship? And I didn't really get a lot of these. I did my research and I didn't get what I want. So we'll talk about 1800 ships, and the first ship, like I said, is just cannons. And the first aircraft carrier uses a balloon, an air balloon, and there are no destroyers, there are no cruisers, they're just sailors. It's only sailing to the sea with a cannon that cannot explode things. So it only used to breach the hulls of your opponent's ship, and it only tries to break the armor, not to break the ship. So break the armor. That's why they only target the down, the parts that is below the ship, or the ship's stomach. You target the ship's stomach, and if that has a hole in it, water will get in, and when water get in, the ship will become heavier, and it won't stabilize on its own, and it will drown. The ship will sink, and you cannot target the opponent's main guns, because the cannons won't destroy other cannons. And even if you target their cannonball storage, it only scatters the cannonball. It won't explode. Okay, it won't explode unless they pack a dynamite and you shoot a scorching fireball through a cannon. It will ignite dynamite and it will explode if they carry a dynamite, because there are no explosive things other than dynamite back then. So it's not cool. Okay, just not cool. And when gunpowders became more an easy picking, and with steel and metal became also more easy picking, they started to create this. And I said now the ships have Each ship has usually two types of shells, and that is an HE or high explosive and armor, and AP or armor piercing. Now, what is the difference between armor piercing and HE? So, HE or heavy or heavily explosive is or high explosive are uh, bullets that can explode. That's what I like, explosions. And uh, since it shoots an explosive uh, shell, it means it will explode on contact, and uh, it will burn the ships, well, by chance at least. And since not all of ships from the previous ones are all metal, there are some that are still wooden parts. Well, even if it's very, very minimum, only 1%. Oh, sorry, only 1%. Still, it will provide. Uh, will still provide huge chaos on the ship because there are some of your crew members on the ship that could be died with fire, and since the fire can cause a huge chaos, that's why a lot of battleships uses high explosive and not armor piercers. And the legend of HE or high explosive in World War II is IJN Atago because in World of Warships, she has a really high chance to ignite his to ignite her opponents, and I'm sorry about his again. Uh, to ignite her opponents, and it's strong, has a high chance and double the burn damage, which means uh, you will die faster, and that's the point. When you get hit by an HE from a toggle, you will die faster if only it's from the burn. Because have you ever heard about thermite grenade? It's just a grenade that, like Molotov, but concentrated and not just and the firearm uses chemicals, uses advanced chemicals, and not just simple chemicals. They use Molotov. Well, it did work like Molotov, but thermite grenades, even if they uh, act like Molotov, there are a lot of different grenades. There are thermite grenades that create a fire line, or create a firewall right here. Just go straight, and it will burn anything that goes through it. It's a concentrated tactical grenade. Unlike Molotov, which is when thrown, it immediately explodes and creates a pool of fire, and it just stay there until it's done. So thermite, they're concentrated. So let's just say HEs are thermite bullets or incendiary bullets that can explode and deal more, and could destroy faster, and they also have can burn things, and it will burn your ship quickly. And then there's also AP or armor piercing. Now, armor piercing, like its name, pierces your armor, and even if it's not gonna burn your ship, it's not gonna burn your ship. It's not gonna cause chaos on your ship. It will make a huge hole on your ship, and it's enough to sink you. So do this, and you win fights easier. So I already have 6 minutes to wrap this up. I'm actually talking about battleships for the third time, and yeah, I already said it a lot of times. Yeah. And armor piercing, like I said, it's enough to create a huge hole, and it could even split your ship into two instantly. I mean, yeah, because it could create a huge hole, and it will create and water. It can have two options. You can die or destroy it because you gotta create a huge hole on your ship, and you got immobilized or immobilized and sunk, or a huge hole on your ship's stomach, and and it's got hole, get sunk, immobilized, or uh, got tear into two, and this usually happens a lot in World War II. And what? Sorry, but there there's really rare occasions where a main gun could split a ship in two by destroying it and split into two, which is rare. But have you heard about USS Indianapolis, which is got attacked by a Japanese submarine, and it got and she got sunk. She got hit by a torpedo. She got hit by a Japanese submarine torpedo. Got sunk, and all of its crew are nearly eaten. All of it are nearly eaten by sharks. And there's also hot oil and everything. It's really total chaos. So, if you want to review the horror or the horrific things that happened in World War II, one of the movies that I recommend is Indianapolis, because it's a very, very chaotic situation there. Just imagine, you're at war, you got ship got sunk, but you're still alive. Uh, you probably just said it's not a big deal. Someone will probably come for us eventually. But the thing is, in this part, it has sharks surrounding the bottom, surrounding the ocean. So, Indianapolis sank. Indianapolis sank. There's a lot of chaotic things happen. The ship split into two, and there's also hot oil everywhere and burns everyone that got hit by it, and their faces melt, their skins, even they became a total mess after they got hit by a very hot oil. And only that, they only have a very limited supply of food, and there's hundreds of you there, and each one of you dies one by sharks. If not by sharks, by thirst and hunger. Because it took a long time because since it's World War II, just technology just not very advanced. That means you cannot ask for help that fast, and therefore the chance of survival at that is not very huge, because if you didn't die because of the hot oil I mentioned, you'll die by sharks, and so you don't want to die with sharks. I mean, you'll get teared apart one by one of your limbs, and then you'll die, and you're gonna feel a hell lot of pain. And okay, so maybe that's all from me. Thank you very much for your time. If you have any questions, you can contact me using the info below. My email is rifkilhafid@gmail.com. You can see it here. I got my phone number 08908981895, and Facebook. You can contact me there, and contact me there. every time. Attack me there every time. Uh, because this is where I very active and yeah. So from me, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.